We're in ZBrush now. I'm gonna start sculpting from the sphere. So here's all the reference that I found. We'll end up find more reference if I need or if there's anything more useful, but should be sufficient at this point. So a few images that I really like is this one. It looks very strong and really show her sort of characters in this image. So this is a sort of a hero view that I kind of want to match. And some other reference for my sculpting would be this. I try to find some other view. These three should be good. Okay, so ZBrush, I'll bring up the new Dynamesh sphere. Doesn't really matter. I usually go with the 32, which is the Dynamesh resolution, but where you can always change the geometry in Dynamesh and the resolution. So I always start from something very low resolution, and using ZBrush, I assign hotkey as 2. So 1 is standard, and 2 is move, and 3 is clay buildup, 4 is inflat, 5 is edge polish, 6 is TCP and knife sharp. My replacement for the damp standard brush. If you don't have this brush, then you can just go ahead and use damp standard brush. They does basically, I guess, 90% same thing. I found this brush kind of functioning better, more smoother, I'd say. But again, it's almost same, so doesn't really need to using this brush whatsoever. 7 is pinch and 8 is polish, but don't really use much for the polish brush. So basically 1 to 7 is the brush that I mostly use. So start with more brush, and from front view I usually turn the symmetry on, so I can save some time just working on one side. I will disable the symmetry as time goes and when we reach to some point, and then need to break the symmetry, but until that point it's fine. So what I'm trying to do at this point is try to make something that's supposed to look like a head. As you can see here, we have a small thumbnail there, that new feature in ZBrush. Or if you have some anatomy, sculpture, or skull reference, then anything's fine. But just deforming the sphere using ZBrush. No need to use any other brush, but just ZBrush at this point. So keep pour out the sphere, the smooth sphere if you need. Add some volumes using clay buildup. Move brush and clay buildup brush is probably 2 brush that I use most, and then some standard brush as well, especially in the earlier stage in sculpting. And if you do this hold control and then drag it, it's going to draw the mask. If your model is contains inside of this mask box, then you get the mask. But if your mask is outside of the model, then it's does the Dynamesh instantly. So it's basically a hotkey for re-Dynameshing. The head is I mean, if you imagine the skull, how the skull looks like. Human skull. Some of them are actual photos, some are real life one replicas. So all mixed is fine. I'll bring this up in the Photoshop. And I collect some reference into this Photoshop so I can kind of show what I'm doing to you guys. Okay, so you can see there's a peak here. Right. There's a peak. It's not completely sphere, but it's more like straight. So, and then on this straight line, you have some curvature on each straight line, which is before as a plane, right? If you also Google, not this, well, some sort of this, right? Some plane ahead. This is referred as planar face or sculpture reference for the artist. Planar head. There. We find a bunch of references. So this image is something that we want to going for at this stage. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with this kind of a face, I strongly recommend download a few images and then just try to hit this kind of a look, especially when it's earlier phase of the sculpting stage. So like this would be good. Doesn't necessarily good looking, but doesn't really matter. Yeah, so those kind of image with the, I mean, you can also go from the skull. See, I mean, we have a lot of ears and then facial fats or muscles going on down there, but they're all attached to this skull. So it's supposed to not go too off from this skull. So this is the shape that we need to match. Alright, so I'm going back to the ZBrush. I'll put this reference onto the side of the screen so I can keep taking a look. Peak of the head is somewhere here. So this is supposed to be the highest point in the head. Top of the head is rather flat. It's quite flat, right? And then peak point is somewhere here. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. But so this is the forehead, and this is supposed to be where usually the hair is starting. This is basically top area of the face. So the curvature here should be very smooth and soft, and then rather flat and have a big curvature. It's very simple shape, but start from sphere sometimes can be a bit challenging. I mean, the skull is not just sphere, but it has its complex structure, and then we're trying to match as close as we can. So it looks simple and nothing fancy going on here, but this job shouldn't be too easy. Means that if you feel this part is bit challenging, that's okay, that's normal. And that's just where the ear is starting. No, so the center of the head is somewhere here, so it's right behind of the center. That's where the ear is attached. So somewhere here. Everything that we do at this stage are just a placeholder, like temporarily, and then it's very fluid, like constantly moving the positions. We just try to do our best to match as close as we can. And at this point, you don't even need to look at the actual subject reference, because before we do, we gotta match your look. We gotta match the basic human requirement before we do anything. Then ear and then eyes lines are basically somewhere here. So nose is shapes like this. So when the brow happening here, and ear, tip of the ear is usually lines up, and when nose ends, usually the ear ends there. So that's where ear is supposed to be. Of course, it all depends on the individual, but in general, you can match the position, and then it's kind of ballpark. And one of the most important thing is getting the eye sockets and the nose, because those two volumes are it's not really a spear, but it's gonna break the spear looking. So those two volumes, that is something that we need to bake in our sculpture. And then it's very important that we still need to retain this shape here, speaker shape in the front. Means that if your nose goes too far, goes too small, or too small might be fine, but it's too far off, then you might break the silhouette of the spear looking in front of the face. That's something that you need to avoid. The front face is usually a bit flat. You can see from this section, this triangle section, it's a bit flat. So that would be this section, of course, without the nose, right? So can keep in your mind. I mean, it's not flat, but there's a bit of curvature. You see from the top, bottom, top view. But this cheekbone happens here. And when we go to the front side of the face, it should be a bit more flat looking. We should have her characteristic feature on the photo, but again, it doesn't really matter at this point. Then this is where the front of the forehead and the side of the forehead is a transition happening. So this area need to be a little bit sharper than the other area of the front face or front of the forehead. So that's this one. Right. This one right here. There's a bit of a curvature happens here again, but as you can see from the side of the picture, it's very flat, right? So there's some tension happening, but it should be very gentle, right? From here to here. So this is the front, and then a little bit of a side, and then it goes to the actual, like, go turn to the side of the face really quick. So that's this point. Then there's a very small things such as cheekbones and then the jaw starting and the side of the face. And there's small things going on here and there, but you don't really need to care too much at this point. Keep it simple, just like what we see in the thumbnail. And then make sure resolution will keep it like low, because if your resolution goes too high, it's gonna get pretty hard to control. The mouth area also have some bulgings, right? So this is the front face. I bring this up to Photoshop. So this is the front side of the face, and this area have bit of curvature. It's gonna go out. Of course, her lip is not neutral shade that I know, but from this point, overall volume is gonna go to the front. Right? So overall it's a bit flat, but this area right here have some volumes, and then tip area is the center. So I'm sculpting something like this front and then the side. Which is this one. Again, that's just a way I explain the structure. You don't need to be too sharp or anything, as long as you get some volume. Because what you want is a bit of volume here. That's all we need. And then another thing that need to be keep in mind is where the back of the head is ended. So the tip is here where the eye goes, right? So that's the tip, and then it ends somewhere here, right below the ear, between the nose and then the lip. So that's the point that you need to keep in mind. So somewhere here, and then there we can control our neck. So I just put the neck out. The body will be covered by the armor, like almost entirely. So I will make hand and then the part around the neck, something like this, and then probably that's it. I will probably using some body that are in the ZBrush or Maya as preset, and then pose them. Well, pose is like comes later, but I will wear the armor on top of those base mesh. So that's the difference between the production work and then personal work. Because it requires a lot of effort to getting the full body, full sculpture with the same amount of detail from top to bottom. So just save the time purpose. When the production work in the studio, the chances are you already have, or your studio already had those pre-made model, so they can be utilized across the show, like at home or some smaller place. You don't really have those set up just like this. If you have to make something from scratch, you're gonna be smart and then just make whatever is gonna be usable at the end of the day. And nothing fancy. Earlier stage, just sculpting, just try to get the initial proportion right, and then check if anything catches your eyes, just like this tip right there, smooth out. And keep rotating and then checking your model in the art from view, like constantly. You shouldn't be stuck in one view and then just draw one stroke and then just rotate your model at least 2-3 different views and check if those strokes or shape you just made are looking good in other view as well, because we're dealing with 3D that it gotta be look good in any view. overall structure is most important. Where there's a like anatomy comes after, right after this, which requires to check the muscles, how they flow, where they're placed. You can put a bit of a like anatomy at this pace, but those anatomies involves like all the small details. So make sure it doesn't break up your model too much, because each stage you need a certain amount of detail. So just go easy from beginning stage. No need to rush at all. If you can scrub something quick, that's good. But make sure you're hitting all the requirements at each stage of the sculpting, or not even sculpting, but all the modeling as well, because they're all same principles, right? Let's make something big, and then start break up from that initial shape, like base shapes. So if your base shape, something like this, isn't look good or isn't correct, then your rest of the modeling stage will be done in a wrong platform, basically. So it's worth to put some amount of times. Yeah, so this stage is almost done. The goal for this stage was to get an initial proportion of the head and the neck, and then ear, nose, and eye sockets. We will still need to adjust proportion as we go, but from spear to this stage was the initial goal. Okay, so we'll move on to the next stage.